All right, welcome along everybody to a new kind of episode, a new kind of podcast, a live show that's going to be a little bit more indoors and it's going to be more regular as well. This is the FFPSports Fitness Network live shows. They're going to take part on daily basis and talk about different sports. So today we're going to talk about rugby and we're going to jump straight into it just like that. I don't need to go on and on and on, but as long as my things are connected, there we go. In the window with me is Alistar or Brough from Brough. Or was it Brough Pod? Brough's Rugby
Brough's
Podcast.
Rugby Offload.
Which one are we going for?
Brough's Rugby Offload, Brough
Okay.
Pod.
There we go. It's all summarised. Today, three big subjects. We're going to talk about one, UAE Rugby, just kind of where it's at, what's happening. Alistar happened to put in a nice article that was showcased with Yellow Sports. So we're going to talk about that one as well. We're going to talk about Six Nations into the final round of the Six Nations taking place this weekend. And of course, the Kiwi here.
Second last round.
Second last, is it? Okay.
Yeah, we've got
Get my
two more
facts
rounds.
right. My bad. We've got a Kiwi, we've got an Aussie, and the ex-Aussie rugby coach, head coach, is now the New Zealand rugby coach, All Blacks coach. Actually
Big
coaching his nation, Dave Rennie. So we're going to talk about that. Let's jump straight into it, bro. Let's go for UAE Rugby. First of all, why the article?
Look, I've been looking at the article, but at the time, we just had dropped out of as well. So we're seeing the competitions get smaller. West Asia Prem's already a small 7-team comp, so it was important that Div 1 was that bigger competition with a couple of those teams playing. The Hurricanes, who are a massive club, they're one of the biggest clubs in the UAE, not fielding a Div 1 side is it's a massive loss. It just shows numbers are dwindling, and there's a couple of reasons why it might be happening. Yes, they will still play their Div 2 side. Their Div 2 guys are all older vets, and they don't want to be playing against the fast Fijians of Shaheen or
the Tuskers.
The new team, the Tuskers, yeah.
So what is it from Yeah.
So that was the point of the article, that there's been a lot of teams. I know Sharjah dropped out at the start of the season, and over the last few years. So I've been out in the UAE, this is my 15th year. Sharjah were a pretty big team when I was playing for them back in the day. The year after I left Sharjah, they had two teams so they had a Div 1 and a Div 2 team. So they were quite a big club. They're gone. We've gone through. There was a team playing out of Dubai Sports City at one stage, playing in green. I can't even remember their name now.
Yeah. I just had it. Not Falcons.
Eagles. Yeah. Eagles. Yeah, and they looked like they had the setup and the go forward. I knew a few of the guys who, after playing at Sharjah, when they wanted to play a bit of Div 1, they wanted to play a bit of Prem, went to the Eagles. But the club only lasted, 2 years before they dropped out. The Arabian Knights used to be a team, they dropped out. The Tigers, 2 seasons ago, they dropped out of the Prem. There's been a lot of winning. After winning it the next season. Now, there were some apparent other reasons, but they lost a few front row guys and a few of their players all departed. So that was a big loss, and we're seeing a lot of clubs come in and go. The Saracens / Pumas, they've also dropped out in the last couple of years as well. So I know the Dubai Knights are planning on coming in. I've got a couple of questions about that anyway, just with why start a new club when there's so many clubs that could use a Div 1 or Div 2 team, maybe join up with a barrel house, or if it's more of a local club, why aren't they have a Shaheen having a second team or something like that? Why start a new club rather than strengthening ones that are already here if players are already struggling?
Okay, based on that and what you've just said, in your opinion, what should happen?
Look, I think some of the clubs need to consolidate and look where they are as clubs. Bahrain's not going anywhere for the moment. Without all the other stuff that's going on in the region, Bahrain is going to be strong. They have their own clubhouse. They make good money and they can afford to then bring in coaches, we'll like to call them. They can bring in players who get paid quite a good wage to do some coaching sessions and play for Bahrain. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but they do very good with their short-term recruiting. I know they've got a few old boys who've been in Bahrain for a long time, like big Alan Morris or Lindsay Gibson stuff. They'll stay. The Hurricanes and Exiles, I don't know how they can share a ground. I know they both play out at the sevens. It's not convenient for anybody. They've got history in the country, which is why they're there, but all these things, and they spend a lot of money on fields, and they don't make anything back. I know the Exiles might have to sell their pub. The Hurricanes have huge amounts of juniors, but obviously with the Div 1 team leaving, they've got another team, the Sharks in Dubai, Tigers are in Dubai. I just think they need to look at how they can strengthen a couple of clubs and build it up, and build even Div 1 and Div 2 up. So it's a stronger competition. So then guys can play when they play Prem. That's a bit of they're stronger games because we have some huge differences in what clubs have available to them at the moment.
Yeah, totally. Resources are a big key point. Okay, so then are you seeing rugby as a whole in this region? Is it getting stronger? Are we just seeing the same clubs dominate, like Bahrain, because they've always been there or thereabouts? Or are we potentially getting weaker?
I think we're getting
Or
weaker, to be
diluting?
honest with you. It is getting diluted. Recruitment is down. Even clubs like Harlequins and things like that used to be really good at getting guys jobs and recruiting players. That's dried up. Sponsorship is apparently harder to get for clubs and stuff these days. There seems to be a bit like there's the huge gap between my generation, probably the millennials and the Gen Z guys coming through and stuff like that, and how they want to be treated and things like that. And people running clubs may not understand that. Getting jobs for guys, people losing interest because it's same old sometimes, and it just feels like at times at the top end of the game, growth really isn't a goal. That's from my point of view.
Yeah. So then, when you talk about like the dominance of clubs, because I kind of want to refer back to again, like the article's there for a reason. It sparked a lot of debate, which is good because you need people talking about the game. But there seems to be a disconnect or a difference of opinion for how to fix a potential issue.
Yeah, there is no quick fix. The best way for rugby to actually grow in the country is for clubs to get their own space. If say Abu Dhabi, Sharks already have a pretty good setup, so they're the good ones in Dubai. Hurricanes or Exiles, maybe the Tigers because they've got their own setup. They have licensing issues and things like that, which might not help. But if they can get there, Alain's got a setup. They've got fields. They've got a clubhouse where they can make money, and then they can put money back into their club. I think that's one of the big things that will fix the West Asia and the Prem rugby. To fix rugby in the UAE, they need to get more buy-in from locals. And I'm not talking about getting another club like Shaheen or like the Knights where it's locals coming in and having like I have no problem with that. I think it's a great initiative, but we need to find a way of getting locals playing for the big clubs that are already there. If locals are playing, that will bring local sponsorship, that will encourage more young players to play. But that skill level, the gap between it is huge at the moment. Like we saw, they've been playing the Emirati schoolboys games and things like that. And it's amazing to see the growth of the game in that way. They're getting more players playing. But the huge difference, and maybe it's a coaching thing as well, the huge difference between the level of, say, a BSAC or a Desk under 18s team versus one of those Emirati teams, that we've got to find a way of closing that gap.
I suppose one of the unique challenges that we have here is that like a lot of young developing rugby players, they get the age of 17, 18, boys or girls, and then because it's I don't say it's a transitional space, but a lot of these players go across, look for scholarships in America, the UK, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, so they can excel and develop their game. So we're losing a lot of these players at the age of 18.
Yeah, it's
How do,
a
how do we
huge
keep that?
problem. Well, one of the things here is the universities are getting better, and there's more recognized universities out here, so
Mm,
making that a more desired outcome. Part of it is probably not getting to live the university life that we got to live, like playing rugby at uni and stuff like that. It comes with its own experiences, and um, rugby is ingrained in tradition. So parents be like, "Oh, you've got to go to this uni and join the rugby team and things like that." So there's that aspect to it, but we've got to make staying in the UAE and playing in the UAE more desirable and
mm,
hanging on to these kids. I can't remember what his name is at the moment. Right, even Reese Webb, former Welsh international, wrote an article going, "This kid could be a star."
mm,
And we did nothing to keep him. Like he qualifies for the UAE already.
mm.
He should be playing in under 20s UAE matches. He should be then training with the senior camps, getting him involved in around the team. So even if he does go off to play in the UK or something, he wants to come back and play internationally. I think that's a part of it as well, making the desire to come back and represent the UAE where they've grown up part of it, and not just an old boys club.
Okay, so for those ones just joining us, whether it's here in the live or on the replay, remember, put your questions in the comment section, whether you be on Instagram or you be on YouTube, um, and let us know your thoughts on how we can develop the game or how do we keep youth here. What was one of the biggest points, I suppose, that wasn't apparent from your article that you kind of
Um,
feel like hasn't really hit the spot? You're like, you know what? Actually, there's more to it.
well, there is more. For me, there's more to how the game is being run at the top here with the UAE Rugby Federation. I mean, they've done some great things. Don't get me wrong. They're coming from 100th to 40th or whatever, and
Mm,
building off that is there's some amazing stuff. But then there's been this huge gap where nothing's happened. Nobody's communicating what's happening. When they put out an article after they had their general meeting, it said a lot with nothing. Like there
mm,
was words but no substance. Going, oh, we want this is our goal, but there was no talk about how they were going to achieve it or anything like that. And all that is important. There's still no head coach. There's still no CEO. Now I know the cutoff date was only 2 weeks ago,
hmm
and some stuff's been going on around here that might have got in the way of announcing it and things like that. But however, in 2 months, in May, we have some international games.
Yeah.
If I mean that's they're scheduled. Yeah, there's been no camps this year. There's been no coach. How can we build from the like? How can the top be good if there's nobody even to run it?
Well, it's a good thing you talk about that now because the All Blacks, as an international team, feel like it's in the same spot. Okay. It it is obviously a disconnect, but there's also, like you just said, there's some really good things going on, but there seems to be a gap, and you're seeing this in the gap between the Premiership and then Division One. For my eyes, you know, Tuskers dominating Division One. I feel personally the step up into the Premiership for them is too far. Like, I don't think,
Yep.
this is my
Look,
personal opinion. I don't think that they would compete. They would just be another team in the bottom. Hey, let's learn, let's develop.
yeah, absolutely. The difference between Prem Rugby and Div 1 Rugby is huge. And I don't think that, like, it's not like they're going to walk in and then suddenly be top of Prem. I
Mm,
do believe they should be a Prem team because they are a lot better than the other Div 1 teams.
mm,
But I don't think, yeah, well, I think next year will be surprising for them.
mm.
And like, they should be in the Prem no matter what, even if they came second in the final. Them and Shaheen need to go up, and we need to bolster that Prem League, get 10 teams in. Even teams like Doha and stuff like that might have a better shout against them and stuff like that. Doha's won one game this season, but I think they would. At the moment, the way Doha play, they would beat both Shaheen or Tuskers coming up.
Yeah, agreed there. I mean, you've
Uh,
seen the development of Doha over the last 2 or 3 years as well. Like when they first came back in, massive score lines, and those score lines are closing. I'll say year on year, or there's the results that I think now can be expected. They're not expected to get whipped. They're expected to win a few of these, especially in those like that
Yeah, and
fourth to seventh.
even games they're not expected to win. They're expected to put on a few points and be a bit more competitive.
Yeah.
It's not just a hey, we're playing Doha.
Mm-hmm.
Great,
it's guaranteed win.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll throw half our second team in there, pump them, and have a brunch. Like that's not happening anymore. They're putting up. They're starting to recruit better. They're starting to get a team together. So they're definitely no pushover team. And some of the teams have found that out this season that have gone a lot closer than they thought they would. But I think Doha and Sharks or Exiles, whoever that ends up at the bottom there with whatever happens this season, they will make life tough for those new teams coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be good if both teams came up just so we have a bit more of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, we've got Bahrain who wins every game. They've won
because here's the table.
Yeah.
So we've got Bahrain at the top, 59 points, 12 wins, 0 losses. And
yeah, they've played all their games, so they're done. They've won. They're the top of the league. They are the league champions.
Mm-hmm. And then it seems to be a condensed table from second to seventh. If you ask me, like anyone on their day seems to be beating each other.
Yeah, I think. Look, I'm not going to include seventh there because I think they're way too low. They've only had the one win. Exiles, when they won against Sharks, put themselves up there.
Mm-hmm.
So them and Sharks could definitely fight it out for that fifth or sixth spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I say what's hard is because a couple of teams have so many games in hand. You don't know. It could be close now. So like Hurricanes are second, and they play Doha. They're supposed to play Doha in their last game.
Yeah.
Which fundamentally you'd expect the Hurricanes to win that and maybe get 5 points. Depends on which Hurricanes team shows up. So they would go up. But the Quins have the Dragons, the Exiles, and Doha left. So you'd expect them to win a minimum of 2 of those, putting them back up the ladder. If not 3 of those, and then finishing second. Dragons have a couple of games left. You expect them. So Hurricanes sitting second now could fall down to 4th. I don't think the Sharks have got it in them to win another game. But the Exiles could still upset somebody depending on the day. So they might take that other spot. But I can't see Sharks winning in beating, I think maybe it's the Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then, because I don't want to focus just on the Premiership. I think the Premiership needs its own probably little focus. But like if we talk about development, if we talk about the game, if we talk about Div 1, Div 2, youth coming through, what is it then that we've got to do, in your opinion, to close the gap between D1 and Premiership? Because there shouldn't be this bigger gap, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we need more of the young talent playing Div 1. I know the Exiles do a really good job at getting it's out of necessity more than anything else. Mm-hmm. They have their Colts, their under 19, under 20 guys playing senior footy. And where I come from, you as Colts, you would play in the morning and then you would play whatever senior grade footy you were picked for that afternoon. You'd be playing 2 games in a day. That seems to be missing a bit here. I know when I was coaching, kids were coming to ask me to play, and I was like, yeah, no worries, we'll get you in the team. But then like other coaches were like, why are you stealing my players? They don't want to play Colts anymore. And I was like, no, that was never my instruction. I want them to play both. They learn more in seniors. You shouldn't be going off to play university or anything like that without knowing what it's like to play against men. Mm-hmm. The size difference and things like that is huge. You could be a huge player in the under 20s, suddenly come up to the men's, and in Div 1, even Prem, if you're that good, suddenly you're not a big bopper and you have to learn how to play a whole different game of rugby.
You're the
so I think that
small fish in a bigger fishbowl.
Yeah, like getting the young guys involved in senior footy, like when they hit 17, they should be playing with Div 1, Div 2, and Prem if they're good enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at the table here, brought to you by Alistar. So we're jumping on their website. Alex does a great job there. So if you want to check out more stats, or you want to check out more about the leaders, or the fixtures and the standings, jump on to yellowsports.ae. Take a look at the table. We're seeing Tuskers dominating, 8 wins, 0 losses. Shaheen, the only loss to the Tuskers, which was a great match, and you can find that one on FFPSports as well. If you want to check that one out. When you look at the table as a whole, 9 teams, there seems to be the kind of regular what you'd expect from a league. The top teams are standing out, the bottom teams struggling to make their way up the ladder. Is there an issue in D1?
Well, there is, because fixturing is... I don't think fixturing has favoured clubs. I think, let's look at the Harlequins. They had 2 games. They get 2 games all season where their 1s and 2s play at the same location. That means, for me, that means guys who are playing the bench 1s aren't playing that much game time, and they can't bolster their 2s, so they can't bolster Div 1 for like a half and then go up and play the next level. And it'd be the same then for Div 2. If you had, when I played on the Gold Coast, you would, if you were benching for the 1s, you would normally play a half of the 2s, come off at half time, and then get your rest in and play up. There's none of that there. So guys might be playing 10 minutes of Prem because they're a bench player, but get no game time down to the next level to keep up that match fitness and things like that. I think that hurts the bigger clubs. And then obviously the Tuskers are a well-sponsored team. They're well set up. So they've got their players, they've got them jobs. They've actually got a really recruiting drive. So that's one level. We know that the Shaheen team has got their own guys who came in and played from Fiji and things like that. They've been given work permits and things like that, and they help Shaheen, and that's what's carried Shaheen up as well. So I don't know. It's a hard one because the Tigers are a pretty good team, but they're an only Div 1 team, so they should be a good team. Like they get to field their best 15 every week. Alain's the same. I know Alain's had a bit of a drop off this season with a few guys aging out and stuff like that. But if you can field your best team every year, whereas if say the Hurricanes 2s before they dropped out, they're waiting to pick their team after the 1s. So then they get to pick their team, and then they've got to scramble on game day because somebody in the 1s has got hurt and someone has to go up, and then someone has to get called in. So they've got a lot, like they don't get to train together like a Prem team or like a top team do. So I think that all plays its part as well.
Do you see this the table changing much moving into the semi-finals?
No, I think I don't even think teams will care as much anymore. I know that the 2 top teams, they want to be up in Prem, so they'll try hard. But I can see other teams, and it's happened all season, teams have been forfeiting or not playing games because they're like, oh, we don't want to risk our players in that game. Just give them, they're going to beat us, give them the points.
Yeah.
And let them, we know that they're going to make the finals. What else is there to play for other than just to play rugby for those other teams?
Well, that brings me to my next question. How much of Division 1 is now becoming I feel like it's becoming a little bit social. It's not really as competitive. I remember maybe only 4 or 5 years ago, everyone was like, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Teams want to win Division 1, but it seems to be that it's taken a bigger back step to the Premiership. Oh my gosh, Premiership.
Yeah.
And now people are there more for it. Just get active, catch up with the guys, have a drink, whatever. And
Div 1. Yeah, Div 1's a funny one because you have some old boys who are great players who still want to play a higher level of rugby. They're probably not fit for Prem anymore, but they don't want to drop all the way down to Div 2.
Yep.
You've got some young guys coming through, and then you've got those middle of the range those players pushing for Prem. So the new guys or the bench players, they're the ones fighting out for last spots. And then you've got the other end of it. They're going, we've pulled you up from Div 2. You're hanging on to your spot. So the skill level difference in a Div 1 team I think is much bigger than the skill level difference in a Prem team.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look then at Division 2, because we've seen some clubs have 3 teams. Abu Dhabi had 4 teams at one point.
That had, yeah.
Had, that was part of the whole article you wrote. Like, there's a few dropouts throughout the season. Like, people, maybe
Yeah.
clubs overreaching or just trying to feed or give people game time. Is that not what Division 2 was about?
Yeah, it is for sure. I know Alain's dropped their Div 2 team, Sharjah at the start of the year, and now Quins have dropped one of their 4 teams is always a push out here. A few injuries and stuff like that, and a few guys not being available due to whatever reason makes fielding 80 something and 90 players in a weekend quite tough. And you even at Div 2 you need them training. So it was a stretch to put in 4 teams, but there were guys who were keen. There was kind of an almost French 4th team and a Quins 3rd team, and they were just kind of playing in the same league under the one banner, but just with guys getting injured and stuff like that, and the 4th team I think they were getting pumped. So I think a few of those guys went, "Oh, why am I doing this?" And the guys who weren't like, "Why am I doing this?" They're like, "Well, I may as well join the other team and have a crack."
Yep, fair enough. When you look at this
but
table,
at the end of the day, it's sorry. This league is about, for me, Div 2 is about giving old boys a place to play and teach the young ones what rugby's like playing against grumpy old men.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, with that said, let's move on to the next part of it, because from my perspective, I'm seeing a great development. One of the biggest things that happened with UAE Rugby over the past probably 4 or 5 years is the development of the women's game here. There's more opportunities, people are going away on trips, there's more focus or news, and we're seeing that come into the development of a 15 or a league that is 3 teams going in at it.
Well, ended with 2.
Huh?
It ended with 2.
Sorry.
It started with 3 teams in the league, but one of the teams forfeited one of their 2 games.
Oh yes, yeah.
So really, it was only it became a 2-team 15 league. And look, I think it's great, but it's not a league when the 2 teams are playing. It's literally like, okay, we'll battle out once during a field, then we'll play the other team. One of the teams got to play them, the other one didn't, and then it was those 2 teams in the final. It's great that a little bit of 15s is happening, but there was no end goal. It kind of got... They've tried, because they rearranged it by taking it from the end of the season to the start of the season to put a bit more emphasis on it. And that was great, but it might have chased away a few 7s players. And I've heard mixed reviews about it. For me, it became a 2-team comp. I know that it was the Ex-Ains, but that even the Exiles pulled out of the final to get their girls ready for 7s because they didn't want to play in the 15s. So it was really the Hurricanes and the Quins. And the Phoenix gave it a go, but they didn't have the numbers.
What is it? Well, then, what has that brought to the region for the women's game?
For me, it's brought how do I say it? I was a big fella myself, and 7s isn't my game. 15s is where I got to show my skills, and 15s allows some of the other girls to show positions that are not great in 7s, but they can be wonderful players in a 15s team, whether it's a prop or a second row. Some of those forwards, especially, they really get to show their craft. And if you're a great scrummaging girl, you get to actually really show that in a game of 15s, where in 7s, one, you're probably not playing in the top team because you're not fit enough or fast enough for a lot of what's happening. It's not always the case, but it makes it harder, but it allows some of those girls to really show off their talent positionally. And I think that's one of the most important things about it. It goes back to that all sizes of rugby can play, whereas 7s is much more, you're fit, you're fast, you're in.
Let's go a little bit deeper into this, because I also feel like the 7s competition's been around for longer. The 15s, like I said, allows more people to get involved in the game, more ladies to get involved. the school development side, or there's like it's a big thing when the sevens comes around and schools are going at it. Girls teams, boys teams.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly the divisions, but at the different various levels, they're all going at it. You got DC versus Des. I think it's Warriors or Phoenix,
Yeah,
Exiles.
they
They're going at it.
yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of the younger teams are now starting to come through, and it's great for the game. But that we're going to have the same problem with the girls that we have with boys. That then they come of university age, we lose them. They're not staying here, which is always a tough pill to swallow. Um, Look, the Sevens League over the years has been great. This year, it's softened. The Phoenix have kind of dropped off a bit. They've lost their B team. Almaha have lost their B team, and one of the other B teams has dropped out. So we've had a decrease in players for the women's league as well this year.
Yeah.
And some of the girls are saying, "Oh, it's because the 15s was at the start." Others are just saying it's the way of the tide. There was this huge push when sevens became an Olympic sport, and it was great and it was amazing. But then things were happening around leagues and things like that, and people were getting a bit annoyed with it. And then, why am I going to do this when I could do something else? Or I could play touch rugby on a Wednesday and not have my body hurt. It's different socially and stuff like that. But the numbers in the girls' game is definitely decreasing at the moment as well. Even though last year we had the UAE team, we had a bit more travel and things like that. We haven't had anything so far this year.
I mean, it's only early in the year. It is only March, but
that's
still
well, only March, but that's a quarter of the year done.
True. Yeah, 3 months. Well, what are we? 4
well,
days.
We're in
4 days into March. Yeah, I get
you
your
also
point,
got to think in the UAE, those are the best months to play.
Yeah.
You don't want to be playing in July. You want to be playing in January, February, March, where the weather's good, the temperature's good. You can play your best rugby. You're feeling your best. When it comes to May, June, July, and you're playing in 45, 50-degree heat with 4,000% humidity, it really takes a toll.
100%. Before we move on to our next segment, any kind of last thoughts on UA Rugby?
Look, it's not doomsday. The game is still growing, and it can still grow. I think just everybody needs to be. We need to find a channel, and we need to understand from all aspects, from the RCM, from the UAE. We all need to be working together to pushing in one direction, not just in 4,000 directions.
Let's talk about Six Nations. Well, we're not going anywhere, Murray.
Yeah,
we're staying here. Just a quick.
Yeah, no. Just move it for a second. Six Nations. All right. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, the first part of this is okay. It's not the last round of matches, which is what I thought it was. So that's a good start. Let's just start on this weekend's matchups. It's Ireland versus Wales, Scotland versus France, and Italy versus England. Let's start with the first match, Ireland-Wales. Do you see the potential for Wales travelling to Ireland and being able to create an upset, especially after how they played against Scotland?
Look, Wales played really well against Scotland. Ireland seemed to be on an upward trajectory. When they played Italy, they got away with murder. I thought they were very lucky. They were average against France, but then they were really good against England. So if they come in with that confidence that they beat England with, Wales are in trouble. Wales should get some confidence with how they played against Scotland, and hopefully they can keep building. But it's tough losing constantly. And if you're not on against Ireland, who are a messy team around the ruck, that's a big thing.
It seems to be, though, like with the international game, you're seeing teams that have these outstanding performances one week and then just disappear the next. It's like, where'd the team go? Is it early celebrations? Is it nostalgia? Is it over celebrating? Is it gave everything on that week and now underprepared?
Yeah, it's a hard one to pick because when you look at what's happened so far, France have been in fourth gear, won convincingly, haven't had to do too much.
Yeah.
They are an outstanding team and they are capable of brilliant things. England came in being equal favourites with France. Everyone thought it was going to be a
Mm,
fight for the Grand Slam in the last week.
myself
England
included.
have, yeah, and me.
Yeah.
I picked England to win it.
Oh.
But they came out against Wales, put on a big score, but never really got out of third gear, and still haven't. Scotland put them to the sword. Ireland absolutely pumped them.
Mm.
So not sure what's going on for them.
Okay, you look in, and you mentioned well. I think this is probably the most interesting game: Scotland and France. Scotland getting wins, how they lost to Italy. Mm. France not get like I said, not getting out of first gear, and honestly, in my opinion, probably don't need to in order to win the Six Nations, which I think has a negative effect on Six Nations. So where does this match sit for you?
Yeah, um, like it's pretty big. Both team like if Scotland can win and actually win a Six Nations, it would be huge for Scotland. It would be huge for rugby. If they don't show up and they don't put in the hard yards, I just can't see them doing anything. Like I just can't see anyone beating France. And then yeah, you're right. Like when the Six Nations is that easy for one team, it hasn't got the bravado that it always hears because you always hear a lot about Six Nations being the greatest tournament of
Mm.
rugby. Has it lived up to expectations this year?
Personally, I don't. Well, I had high hopes at the start. I felt like it was about to. It was going to go down that way, and then, like for me, being a Kiwi, I rate the Six Nations higher than the Rugby Championship, and it's like I just feel like there's further development in the north with the game, and I expected. Especially after the All Blacks and Australia travelled the north and their northern tours, it just was just okay. South Africa's doing what they're doing. They're so far ahead. They've got so much depth. I struggle to see them losing, even if they stay stagnant. But looking back at the Six Nations, it was like it's just been I don't know disappointment. Is it because England hasn't kicked on after their 12-match win? Is it because France is just expected to be good now these days? And the highlights you've
Yeah.
seen is Scotland, Italy picking up a couple of extra wins. Italy again. I don't want to assume, but I'm thinking they're going to beat Wales if they haven't already. Actually, I've just got a little bit lost on that one, but you know what I mean. It's just like normally I'd want to watch these games. I just don't have the urge, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Look, actually, the game I'm most excited to watch this weekend is England Italy.
Mm,
Italy have shown some form. I think they were very, very unlucky against Ireland. There was a forward pass that the ref on the field didn't want to give it as a forward pass. She was talked into it by a TMO. I don't know where his clear evidence was because we didn't see it at the game, but that was 7 points. And suddenly Italy tie Ireland and they beat Scotland. They tie Ireland. I mean, France is France, so that would have been their first loss.
hmm
That could have been very, very interesting. But Italy's got some confidence, and England haven't. England have made huge changes this weekend. They're still gone small up front, which is concerning because Italy's scrum has been phenomenal.
hmm
And Italy's backline is singing at the moment. I think we could be up for a huge shock here.
Really, calling it first, eh?
Yeah, I'm gonna like I wouldn't put much money on it because well, one I don't have much, and two I don't. But yeah, I think we could be up for Italy getting a surprise win over England this weekend.
You know, there's two sides of that one. One is for the competition. It used to be 5 years ago, maybe less. It was Italy's just making up numbers. Bring in Georgia, bring in someone else, make them part of
Yeah,
Six
play
Nations.
off for
Have
that
this,
last spot.
yeah, have that. And also, I am, I think, up for the promotion relegation side of things. Um, if you're going to have a proper competition, I think it has to be the same with the rugby championship as well. I think there needs to get to a point if it's going to compete as far as or be there thereabouts. When we talk about northern or southern rugby, there needs to be a pathway for other teams to get involved with that. Anyway, it's
Yep.
a separate thought.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And I think the Rugby Championship probably needs to be extended to 6 teams.
Hmm.
I think Japan need to be in there, and probably Fiji at this stage.
Yep.
I think they're both deserved teams to come up, and that's how they will get better. And perhaps there can be a playoff for that last spot. So I think Tonga were really good this year, and
Mm.
things like that. And maybe they play the bottom lot of that have a tournament, and the loser of the Rugby Championship plays the winner of that. Similar to what's happening with the Six Nations, the loser of Six Nations has to play the winner of the European competition at the moment.
Let's take a look at the standings. We got France there in first. Easily, you've got to say easy wins, really. The points difference, 89. I mean, that tells a story in itself. I mean, the next big point difference is Scotland of only 11. It's
Yeah,
seriously, I mean, we've got top of the table happening this weekend, and there's no
granted,
no.
Scotland have to play France this weekend, obviously. So they haven't had their pasting by France, whereas Ireland got pasted, England got pasted by Ireland. So once every team's played France, you can kind of get more of a grip on the other five, because at the moment it's a joke that how good they are, and they're not even playing seriously yet.
Mm,
They're just showing up and going, all right, we're going to do this today. Jalibert is a freak. LBB is like, some of these guys can make stuff happen from nothing,
mhm,
and you've got to look at some of the other teams, and even you look at the teams around the world. Which teams have guys that can do that? South Africa do. They've got like guys like Cheslin Colby,
mm,
who could just make something from nothing. Even some of their forwards like Malcolm Marks or something like that. Just a big turnover or a big crashing run, something like that, where they make guys make stuff happen, make guys get
mhm,
behind them. Um, All Blacks probably used to be the Barrett brothers, but it's probably only Will Jordan at the moment who's really going. Every time he gets the
mm,
ball, he's a bit of a threat. He can make something happen.
yep,
France have got
across the park.
Anton Dupont, Jalibert. They've got forwards who are now playing like backs as
Mm,
well. Like they're so fast, they're so big. Australia, Swally on his day, Fraser McWright, good for a few turnovers, but
Tom.
without Will Skelton,
Mm,
I think Australia aren't much.
yeah.
They
Is that
need a big throw around fella.
is that where the likes of France and South Africa are now? That's why they're dominating. Like that's why France is dominate. Well, it's hard to say. Like so, when I look at this, France, yeah, they got the massive forwards, and you look at their youth, the development that's coming through in the under
Yeah,
20s. These guys are huge. I mean, there's still a big step up
yeah,
into Test rugby, but France has the foundations and the depth coming through for the next. Oh, I don't know how many generations, and allows them to set a platform, and then their backs to do what they do. I mean, they're creating breaks with like 2 meters of space on the edge.
yeah. The other thing France has that the other teams do not have is money.
Mm,
They've got money in rugby. They've got their under 20s playing in the third division
mm,
coming through. They're playing against adult. Their rate of succession and over the all is really good. Their recruitment drive is good. They're
yeah.
getting guys from everywhere who are qualifying for France, and their game is huge and their competition is huge. So like the top 14 is like all of those teams have outstanding players, and you're like, how's got a team like that getting beat? Like Owen Farrell couldn't even barely.
Yeah.
Like, I know he had a lot of games, missed a lot of games, but he was rubbish when he went there. And we're talking about a world class 10-12. Like
Yeah.
um, France they could be the next dynasty. They've just got to lose that reputation of being the French
Chokers.
rugby team. Yeah, like
Unfortunately.
just not showing up one game, which is the most critical one. Like
Mm. They seem to do
South
the
Africa will
opposite of South
continue to grow
Africa.
because. Sorry.
They do the opposite of South Africa. Like South Africa lose every well, they used to lose everything between World Cups and then win the World Cup. With France, from the northern perspective, we're literally winning their things, going through Six Nations, and then getting to World Cup and just not finishing off like what third or three World Cup finals and not able to to tick off that
Yeah.
last one, you know.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of those were shocks, but now we're not shocked if France are going well. But yeah, like I think South Africa just has rugby. That the way they support rugby in that country is so different to the rest of us. Like they just get behind rugby. If you were in New Zealand and New Zealand were playing Georgia, you might put it on, or you might go, oh, you know what, I might watch the rugby league tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You might put something else on. You might watch a bar. You might go out for dinner instead. The South Africans, even in the UAE, I went to Belou's because it was after one of the Lions games. So one of the Lions versus Australia, there was like 10 people in the pub, and then South Africa's playing Italy or Georgia, and the
Georgia.
place was packed, and they were screaming while playing Georgia. Like their faith and their belief in their support for their team is unrivaled across nobody supports their rugby team like the South Africans do.
100%. It reminds me of England supporting football. It's South Africa supporting rugby. No matter what, no matter how, the belief.
Look at good content creators. You want to get some comments, say something about South Africa, and they're all on you. That's what, like, literally you're hearing guys say is like, all you have to do is like say a half bad thing about South Africa or a good thing about another team, and the South Africans are on there going, oh, but if it was South African, they were beaten. Like the passion they have for their team it's just unmatched. And like I'm sure probably being a Kiwi that hurts because you guys were the top for so long.
Now we're out.
You were there, and it's definitely a different passion that the South Africans bring. But it's also sometimes you feel like that's all they've got.
Yeah, well, we'll get into the All Blacks after this, but because I do want to hit on this where it goes to. If we look at this now, then we talk about the standings. France miles out in front. If you take a look there, there's no way they're losing this, in my opinion, by any means. The next matches after this weekend, if things go the way they're supposed to, or you think they will, France beat Scotland, Ireland beat Wales, well, you say Italy upsets England. I mean, we take that back to the standings.
Well, even if England win, they've dropped 2 games, so they can't do it. So Scotland have to beat France for France not to win.
That,
yeah,
Grand Slam as well.
Yeah, well,
it's not Grand Slam.
I mean, if France beat Scotland, they could lose to England and probably still win it, as long as they don't get belted.
This is what I want to touch on. I don't see Scotland getting close to France. And then based on what I've seen through so far, in this match, the Ireland-Scotland game is more enticing in the last round for me. I mean, it's bottom of the table, Wales, Italy battling it out for the wooden spoon, but I think that'd be well and truly Wales will have that. So it'd be just another.
I think even if Wales win that, they'll have the wooden spoon because Italy's been close.
They beat Scotland, yeah.
They beat Scotland and they got a bonus point against Ireland, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, look at the standings. So they got 5 points up.
Yeah. Well, so Wales, but their points difference is pretty. Yeah. Like you'd need a bonus point win for Wales without Italy scoring any bonus points.
Then, would be the game for you? We'll talk about this next week. But
if you ask me at the start of the Six Nations, the game of this weekend should be France-England, but the game is now Ireland-Scotland. That is the game we want to watch. It's an older rivalry. Both of them want to be pushing up for that spot. Scotland need to show something. Like the last couple of years, Scotland have had some great players. They've had a great team. I still think they're lacking a little bit in the front row, but their back line with Finn Russell, Tuipulotu, Hugh Jones, like they have the world-class players now. There's enough world-class players in that team where they should be showing more. Last year they came fourth. They don't win. If they lose the next 2, bang, back down the bottom, back down to fourth again. Like where's their improvement? Where are they showing it? They've a good core for a long time, but they haven't gotten any better. And I don't know. That's the big one for me, because if Scotland come out with 2 losses in the next 2 weeks, it's a year out from a year and a half out from the World Cup. What do you do? Because the coach hasn't shown any improvement for years.
Yeah, literally, it goes back to we're in a moment of Scotland. Oh, they're getting better, but if they can't finish us off the Six Nations, then you're right. I'm with you. It's Scotland of old. Carry on. The status quo stays the same. That's how I'm seeing
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
Okay.
they're good. They're good for a win against their old enemy England, and that's it.
Okay. That is Six Nations. We're going to go talk about. Well, we can talk about a little about Southern Hemisphere rugby. That's the next one we're going to chat on, talk about. And first of all, before I do that, just a quick one. Buzzer. Buzzer is our sponsor for the show. They are an online platform, a created content platform for sports, and you can find out a little bit more about them right here. All right, welcome back into Sports Talk, which actually, now you've seen the buzzer one, is going to be renamed, and it's going to be around buzzer. But we'll come back to that later on. So look forward to
Beat
more
the buzzer.
sports. Beat the buzzer. Yeah, that's not a bad one. Actually, if you've got ideas for a show title, I've got one in my head. But what would yours be, bro?
On the buzzer.
On the buzzer. Oh, I like that. Bit of basketball. We're talking about rugby. We talked about Six Nations. We're going to talk about Southern Hemisphere rugby. The All Blacks have just appointed their new coach, Dave Rennie. As Dave Rennie was the Australian coach beforehand, he's now been appointed the All Black coach. Is that good for the All Blacks or bad for the All Blacks?
Well, it's good for the All Blacks. They've finally got a coach. They're in shambles with the way they went about things. It's very un-All Blackish. So it's good that they finally made a decision. Look, I actually rated Dave Rennie quite highly. I know Australia let him go to bring back the Wonder Man, Eddie Jones. I was one of the few people who were very, very against this.
Against Eddie or against Dave being
against Eddie and against letting Dave go. I think the way where Dave picked up Australia from, and the fact that they were getting belted when he got them, and they were so close in a few games. I think they lost to Ireland by 2 points, France by a point, or stuff like that. They were in games. What hurt him was like he had lost about 7 players, and then we got beaten by Italy. And then they swung the axe, and he got done because Eddie Jones suddenly said, "I'm available. I've taken England down. Like I took them up, and then I've broken them, and they're all broken apart now. So I'll leave, and now I'll go to Australia and just completely destroy them."
There's from my perspective, when you think about when they made that change to Eddie, you think about I suppose there was proof of the pudding that he could have, should have taken Australia and made them stronger, considering what, the Japan upset when they beat South Africa. I mean, he was thereabouts. What he, I suppose, initially did with England, what he's done around the Australia game, But
Yeah, so I think the I don't know how to put it. The Japan game, amazing one-off, but it was a one-off win. Like
well, it's pretty important
Japan
World
didn't.
Cup.
Yeah, but Japan didn't really beat anybody else.
Yeah, it's like they saved it all for
Like,
that 1-1.
and they did what they beat like Ireland or Scotland a couple of years later, but that was under Jamie Joseph, I think. So yes, he had a famous win, and it was amazing for Japanese rugby for the one win. For England, England should be one of the best teams. They've got a great competition in the Prem Rugby. They should be up there.
Yeah.
So you should have that. You should have the caliber of players. He went through coaches like Skittles, mate. Like guys don't want to work for him. So it's a really interesting one because just the way he took England to a World Cup final. I mean, the All Black hangover was the thing back in the day.
Yeah.
If you did beat the All Blacks, you almost always lost your next game. That was one of the things, and they lost that World Cup. Yeah, like you put everything into beating the All Blacks. You're like, oh, I don't have time to prep the next team. And players were so jubilant about beating, and it's probably the same with South Africa now. When you beat South Africa, you're not as good the next game because so much has been like, you're like, yes, the weight's off my shoulders. You don't know how to put it back on. Yeah. But yeah, that was a big thing. But then you watch the way he systematically got the way England failed and got worse over the next 3 years. For me, that's why he wasn't a good option. He comes in all guns blazing, but he had the pick of the litter to come in with who already kind of knew how they wanted to play. And they had guys like Owen Farrell and stuff like that who couldn't be dropped. I mean, Eddie came in, he dropped like Michael Hooper. He didn't want good like guys who've proven themselves around anymore. He wanted to start off with this new thing. And then you watch the documentaries and stuff like that go, oh, nobody's got heart. Everyone. He was too busy worrying about what the media was doing and how he could be content famous. Yeah, but not actually worry about making the team better and understanding that the young guys needed growth. Like he shat on the young tens, pardon my language. But yeah, like I just didn't think about. I thought Dave Rennie was growing players and he's building their confidence slowly. And I think he's a great coach. He's got the other experience as well from other clubs. I don't actually see him doing any better than Razor.
Yeah.
I just don't think New Zealand rugby is in the same place. And it's very hard. Both Razor and Dave Rennie were always going to have it, and he'll have it just as hard, if not harder, because if he is not completely successful, everyone will be like, well, why did we get rid of Razor if we're just at the same spot?
Yeah. Okay. Because let's hit on this because now we've got two countries, Southern Hemisphere with it's always Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. When you consider Southern Hemisphere, Argentina's starting to poke their head in the door, say, "Hey, look, I'm invited to the party." But now you see Australia, Joe Smith's out, new coach is in. I can't actually remember his name. There's a transition now from Razor,
Les Kiss,
and from Razor to Rennie, and the goal really now is to how do you stack up? How do you beat a team like South Africa? Now, New Zealand did it once in Eden Park. How? I mean, it just shows the very minuscule differences in the teams, right? The World Cup, not only did the All Blacks lose by 1, but England and France also lost by 1 to South Africa. So how do you make that, or how do these teams go about, and because there's an aura about South Africa, and I put France there as well, that these two teams are going to be untouchable come World Cup time.
I agree with South Africa. I don't agree with France as much because
really
France. I believe France can be. I believe France should be the best team in the world. Don't get me wrong. I think they should be better than South Africa. I just don't believe that the teams that they're French have the aura like South Africa do, because they still throw away a game here and there that keeps them in it. Now, I know South Africa's done it because South Africa in the Rugby Championship, they lost to Australia at home. At what's the ground in South Africa? They hadn't lost to Australia in years.
Ellis Park.
Yeah, Ellis Park. They were 22-0 up, and they lost 39-22 or something like that. Like they lost to Australia, which was a shock to everybody. They lost to New Zealand.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, and then the Australia South Africa games were actually two much closer games than the All Blacks South Africa games.
So then, why, in your opinion, is it France that doesn't have this aura about them, and South Africa still does?
Because France haven't won anything.
You mean major?
That matters.
Yeah, major.
So okay. Six Nations is great, but fundamentally, the Southern Hemisphere.
I can see all the Northern Hemisphere people saying, like, haven't won anything great. And you talk about Six Nations. I mean, they're walking through Six Nations.
It's nothing, though. Like, a team wins the Six Nations every year, and one of those teams has won a World Cup.
Yeah.
Until those Northern Hemisphere teams start picking up a few more World Cups. As much as I love the rivalries, I love the aura around it, but winning a Six Nations doesn't mean jack in terms of whole rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, France win it this year, great. Who are they coming up against in the Southern Hemisphere? Because that's all they're looking at. Which one of the Southern Hemisphere teams is going to beat them for them to not make the World Cup this time? Because that's what Southern Hemisphere teams are playing. We don't care about it. Like, we don't care who wins the Six Nations. We care how our teams are going and where we're going. And that's just whether I'm Australian. I'm not from the Northern Hemisphere. Maybe people say I don't understand the Six Nations enough. I understand rivalries. Look, Australia, England it doesn't matter what sport. It's a pretty big rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand, Australia, probably more so from the New Zealand perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you play Australia, your desire to win is that bit higher than it is to probably any other team.
Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to Bledisloe.
These are old rivals. Yeah, well, I just don't even get me started on the Bledisloe.
Well, from our perspective, is not to be the team. The players' perspective is not to be that team that finally loses, and it will happen.
Well, I don't even know if it will because of the way it's set up now with only 2 games. Well, we have to win both games now to win the Bledisloe. It's not even a points difference. It's not 3 games where you can. Yeah. Where if you drop 1 game, you can still win the Bledisloe.
What about then with the start of Super Rugby, 3 weeks in, 2 Australian teams on top of the ladder from that one. They've beaten the Blues, beaten Crusaders, sitting top. Well, does that translate to the international team?
I think hopefully it does. I think New Zealand rugby is on a little bit of a downward trajectory at the moment. I don't know if it'll be down low enough for Australia to win yet or at this World Cup. But, Australian rugby was on a downward trajectory for 20-odd years. We just had some very good players keeping us afloat at times.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to develop players and we're slowly coming back up. New Zealand is on that downward trajectory at the moment, and New Zealand don't know how to lose yet.
Yeah. You mean lose as in to Australia? Or you putting that across
to anybody?
Okay.
To anybody, they don't know how to not be the best team in the world.
Yeah. And the expectations, all those guys, from the public.
Yeah, absolutely from the public and from the pundits and things like that. Those guys who were lucky enough to be part of some of the greatest rugby teams ever put together.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand what it's like to be put in a team that's not the greatest rugby team ever.
It doesn't have the players across the board that are X factor.
Like that. It's just freaks and are better than ever. At the moment, there's no New Zealand. Like I say, Will Jordan is one of the standout. He's a freak. He can do a lot of things. The Barretts, they're all great players, but are they as good as what the other teams have?
Well, good point, because when I look at South Africa, and you mentioned a couple of names before, like Cheslin Colby stands out. used to be Faf de Klerk stands out. I can't pronounce his name. The number 10. How do you pronounce his name?
Andre Pollard.
Well,
Andre Pollard
as a
or
stalwart, he has to be a foundation.
Sasha Feinberg.
Sasha Feinberg, yeah, like just
Sasha Feinberg.
you look at a player, look at X Factor, unbelievable. Malcolm Marks, I mean, Jesse Krill, even he's kind of there in my opinion, nearly. Quagga Smith, you're starting to bang out names. Ipsabeth
comes on and makes impact, but I think the big thing is South Africa's whole pack. Their forward pack
Ox
is their props can scrum
haven't even mentioned
like
the captain.
no tomorrow.
Jeez.
Yeah. Their second rowers are gigantic specimens of men. Who, like, Eben Etzebeth is a freak. Like, he is a huge, ripped, strong man who likes to get in people's faces, but he can do it.
Yeah.
He would, I think Brodie Retallick and him probably were the two greatest second rowers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that hurts me because John Eales is in the back there crying.
Well, he kicked a goal, so he'll be happy.
Yeah, but Brodie Retallick was a freak of a player, and he had that aura that Etzebeth had.
And there's talk of him coming back. Very, very rumored talk.
Yeah, because, with Dave Rennie, isn't he? Because he plays for Dave Rennie's Japanese team.
Colbert. Steelers.
Yeah, but New Zealand don't have, and maybe Richie Mwanga is that missing piece as well at 10. He was
another debate.
He was he's a game-winning piece, but there's no money in Super Rugby.
See,
I'm
against Richie. Love what he's done, but when people talk about chances, he's been through 3 World Cups. Was 3? Well, he's been thereabouts in the first. Didn't win with them the last one. Didn't win with them before that. It's like, because he was battling between him and Barrett, but I don't think he's the answer. I don't think Damien is either, really. But I don't think there's a number 10 in New Zealand to drive.
And this is Australia's problem as well. A number 10 that is
Donaldson. You don't think
like a freak, but also a clinic? No. I think Donaldson is the perfect utility back. I think Australia should be playing a 7 or a 6-2 bench, and I think Ben Donaldson should be one of those two backs because he can play so many positions in that back line. Because he could pull off centre, he could definitely play fullback. Guys can move on the wings or vice versa. I think Ben Donaldson's a great bench player. He's not a starting 10.
How does teams there's a lot of pride in Australia, a lot of pride in New Zealand. How are these two teams going to front up to the likes of South Africa, to the likes of France?
Well,
is it possible?
Look, for Australia, I've been a bit more hopeful. We watched us front up against the Lions. We're probably unlucky in the second game, won the third game. But guys coming back from international that we've now changed the rules. So we can pick anyone from anywhere. New Zealand haven't done that yet. I think it works. I think having guys who play in, so we've got guys like Will Skelton and stuff like that who play in France. Tupou's playing over there in France now as well. Yeah, but he's a freak. He's a freak player. If we can get all our players on the field at the same time, Angus Bell playing for Ulster at the moment, so he's playing in you've got a couple of guys who've gone off to England, like Tom Hooper, and someone else went over there as well. So you've got guys playing in these other leagues, learning the game, learning the craft, different from Super Rugby, and I think that's going to benefit the Wallabies a lot when it comes to playing against those teams. Because I don't think Super Rugby is benefiting international rugby for Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah. Because you can only think of, when you think about Australia right now, who are the two players you need in there? Well, actually, there's a new player, Charles. There's only Valentini and Skelton. You have to have them in the team to have a chance. Like, I'm surprised that the Northern Tour for Australia didn't go better. I mean, it literally capitulated.
Yeah, but again, Will Skelton wasn't playing. 4 or 5 other guys had gone off had to go because their contracts were over. Like, because Australia started it outside the window. So they didn't have their guys at the start. A couple of injuries, and guys were like, no, I've got to feed my family. Um,
Which is
they're not playing for their country.
fair enough.
But
But
stupid organising
yeah.
as well. Like, what's the ARU doing playing games outside the international window? And
Okay.
in the Northern Hemisphere, ARU aren't making money off it.
Well, this is the other thing too. So how much is like that dictating the future of rugby when it especially comes to like Australia is battling rugby's what, fifth as far as popularity with the game.
I
Unions.
didn't know. I didn't even think it was that high.
Yeah, oh sorry, not all sports, but I mean when it comes to the oval ball, I mean it's behind AFL, it's behind NRL, it's probably behind touch rugby nearly.
Mate, now I could be wrong. In terms of actual playing numbers, it's in the 20s in Australia.
Cheapers.
Like people don't play rugby union in Australia. Like if you go to Melbourne, the only rugby people ever hear of is the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah,
and its league. Like I growing up and living in Melbourne, it wasn't until I was an adult in a bar I'd met somebody who actually played union in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's true. I
League,
don't bump into anybody.
yeah, but league runs Queensland and a lot of New South Wales. AFL runs the rest of the states, and they put in money to grassroots. Like AFL puts in, like I worked at a school in Queensland that was a rugby league school, but you went into that sports shed and they had the best AFL quality stuff you could ever get from grassroots up. Like and AFL was putting into those government. There's nothing in union in state schools.
That's right there. Then how will
nobody plays it.
What about the future then? When you think about rugby, Southern Hemisphere, the sevens game starts to die out. SA expanding because, well, from my point of view, they're not playing in South Africa. They're going to play in France or the UK. They're playing even the Japanese league, like till they get paid, right? But they're expanding their reach, they're expanding their game. They are a powerhouse. France has the league, the richest league in the world. They're a powerhouse. Are they only going to go further away from everyone? And so the dominance, yeah?
Well, France are going to keep accelerating. South Africa are in that weird position. Like, I mean, they've got the heart. Like, that's their number one sport, which makes a huge thing. Like, everyone wants to play it. There's a lot of competition for spots and things like that. And the reason so many guys are going overseas is because they're not going to make it in South Africa.
Yeah.
So they go, well, I've got to go early over there. I can make a little bit of money playing for the Lions or the Sharks here as a maybe A team, B team player, or I could go play Div 2 in France and double money. I could go over to Japan and play and earn this kind of money and have that kind of life. Because you've got to also remember, South Africa lifestyle is a bit different to some of the other countries. It's still a second, third world country in terms of what's available there and safety and all that stuff.
Then my next point is you look at other sports, and I'll take football as an example. The EPL, biggest league in the world, doesn't have the best international team. England's there or thereabouts, but they're never winning.
They don't. The homegrown players just aren't there.
Totally,
the best EPL teams have stupid amounts of international players, don't they?
Yeah. So my thinking here is you think about France or you think about Japan. Does it need to be that for Australia or for New Zealand? Do they need to be like, you guys need to go play in those leagues? You need to go play in Japan, or maybe not Japan because the intensity is down, but France at least.
I think playing over in the Northern Hemisphere is definitely benefiting. And now that Australia has got rid of the ghetto law, and you can if you are an Australian citizen playing anywhere, you can be picked for the Wallabies team. It used to be you have to have a certain number of games under your belt or special circumstances, but that's all gone. And it is good as what South Africa did. Let their guys go and let them come back and play, so they can make their money. New Zealand's done it a little bit, letting guys have a hiatus in Japan, but none of them are coming back better.
Yeah.
Well, you're not coming back a better player.
This is the question then behind Richie and now Brody potentially, or Aaron Smith potentially, like for the All Blacks, or Frizzell. You know, I can see it benefiting in Australia a lot more than New Zealand right now, but I think as a sport in the future, it needs to be a replica of go to France or follow what SA's done.
Yeah, well, I think the big difference between Australia and New Zealand are the Kiwis are just going off to Japan to make a bit of coin. Whereas the Aussies, yes, they might be making more money, but they're going off. The top level players are going off to the Northern Hemisphere leagues to play more and better rugby, more competition. That like the games are a lot closer. They're playing a lot more rugby. You play so many games in the Northern Hemisphere, and they're getting picked to play over there. So when the Six Nations comes, we've still got players, top quality players playing for the clubs.
It looks like there's quite simple proof too, right?
Yeah, how many New Zealanders are playing in the Northern Hemisphere that can be picked? Only, what's his name? Johnny Sexton's mate, Rico.
Oh yeah. Well, he's only on a short term. You know,
yeah, but he'll learn the game. I mean, Jordie Barrett went over there and was the best player in the league. Like, he's a phenomenal player. He was the best player in that league. He learnt rugby and he learnt stuff and came back over. But a lot of it is not translating back to Super Rugby. A lot of it translates better to international rugby. But if you're playing with all Super Rugby players, they play away. Even some of the new rules, having less scrums, does it really make you a better international team when you pick those guys who then have to relearn rules when they play an international game?
You've now put like a million thoughts in my head, because like you mentioned just before, the gap could just blow out. I mean, if you got France sending a third, well, actually, France now makes me think they're going to be positioned as the India of cricket. You know, there's a governing body for cricket, but it's actually the Indian Cricket Council that decides what goes on. It's not the international side of things. If India doesn't want to show up, they don't show up. Look at the support they have. Look how many people play the game. The money
it helps having a population of 1 billion, but
totally. But even France, I mean, look, the buy-in. It's not even a national sport. I mean,
the buy-in is huge, and I don't think the gap's going to get smaller unless we allow our players. And I am glad Australia's doing it, because if we allow our good players to go over and play in better leagues, because for me, Super Rugby is a great pathway to get you to that league. If you can perform really well and at the top level, but you need to go and play international rules against other international players, have a variety of experiences. Super Rugby team and New Zealand teams are all very similar. The way they are, all their players from 12 to 15, they're all very similar. They're all these hybrid athletes. They're phenomenal athletes. I'm not dissing their skills or their ability, but none of them are like, no, you don't see a guy who's an out-and-out specialist positional player.
Yeah, that's the Kiwi mindset, which is, I think you're right, is wrong. I mean, Australia, whether they're having the results or not, are proving that if you allow international players to go away, play, and then bring them into the international team, it makes a big, massive difference on the international game. Skelton is the obvious, identifier. Okay. Any last thoughts?
I have a question for you first before we go any ahead. I have a question for you. Has Australia made a big mistake not having the All Blacks Wallabies game kicking off the World Cup.
Actually, I thought so at first, and the reason I thought so at first was because, you know, it's it's not about that match. It's more about how they've expanded the extra teams. So from a spectacle to get people to buy into the World Cup, to say, hey, let's get attention, let's build up. There's Bledisloe, there's neighbours, there's rivalry. For all that reason, it should be there because it gets people in the door from the start. It gets more eyes on the tournament. Yep, great. So from that perspective, yes. But now when I look at it, and I don't know how or why the deciding minds that be decided to go against this, but I can see it that I think they're trying to condense the good games because unfortunately what's going to be happening here, or I see it and I feel this already, is I'm not going to care about these opening matches because they're going to be 100-point blowouts. I mean, the All Blacks playing Hong Kong, China. What's the point?
Yeah, well, that's our first game. That's the Wallabies' first game is against Hong Kong, China.
Yeah.
But I don't think my perspective on it, I wouldn't have picked it to be Hong Kong, China. I would have picked I can't remember, is Chile in our group?
Chile as well, yeah.
Yeah. I would pick them. I don't think you want to start off embarrassing the hell out of China in anything. I think they take themselves quite seriously. I don't think it's a good look for the game.
But they're not going to play their A team, are they?
Asians.
They're going to play the Bs.
Yeah, they're top. Yeah, but they'll still get beaten. Like Hong Kong, China went over this year to play the Brumbies B team, and they put 80 points on them.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where I look at it from. It's not a bad idea not to have that game to start off with, because what they'll do is blood players from the Bs or the seconds through those first couple of games.
Oh, look, and the other thing is confidence.
Yeah.
Like Australia could start out against New Zealand, lose, and suddenly the whole country's already pooping on them.
Same for New Zealand.
Literally,
that's the same for New Zealand.
Apart from it's our World Cup. So we want to start
Yeah, but pumping,
I mean, you know what I mean? It's in Australia, and that you're already competing against leagueies who cannot help but shit on Union as much as they can.
Yeah.
There's
a thing as well, because the other groups as well, you look at it, everyone's in the same kind of boat. And I didn't see the other part, I don't remember, I should say, the other parts of the draw where these other teams, they're all, or the top teams, there's only really, let's say 6, if we take it at a stretch, who actually have a chance of winning. Like every other game between, up until the semi-finals, even quarterfinals, is going to be like, it's a 90 or 80% chance this team's going to win.
Except for our group.
Well, except for SA.
One of our teams is going to come up against SA early.
Yeah. But then, yeah.
It's going to come up earlier, and imagine if
is that the
Japan
reason
went
to change
through
it?
Above? Yeah, I think the expansion of rugby has to happen. I don't know if
do we play the final pool game against each other,
in
right?
Sydney, I think. Yeah.
But it's our final pool game, right? So it's the game before the quarterfinal.
Yeah. So maybe it's a good warm up.
I think it's
whoever you're playing next.
Yeah. So from that perspective, it's the best idea to have that last. You have a hard hit out, and you're at least game ready or match ready, knockout ready to go into that match. Whoever you are.
My concern is just you're opening the World Cup with an absolute belting. Is it a good look for the game?
I think Australia's going to use it as a practice of a plan B or plan C.
Yeah.
That's what
because at the end of the day, you've still got to get your A team ready to be playing as well. So as much as it's easy to put a B team in and go, all right, you're playing Hong Kong, China, you could actually treat it as a training match for your A team, getting them drilled in the skills and getting those players understanding a bit more for each other before you play the All Blacks.
You see, I've got this different perspective on it where if I was playing my A's, I know, I get caught on this with myself. Not that I'm an international athlete, but because you get pulled into bad habits, like a training run. Oh, this is going to work, but it's against a team that doesn't know how to defend properly. And then when you
Yeah.
actually go to play a proper team who knows how to defend, you're like, oh, why is this not working? Shit, what's going on? So I feel it's nearly detrimental unless you're a team that's so well drilled that can ignore, like, if that game for me, if it's going to be a training run, it needs to be, and I hate to say this, a 150-point bashing where you stay switched
Yeah.
on for 80 minutes and you're running the structure. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you can break out and sprint around someone. If your game plan is to go up through the middle, then it should be just hammering through that
Go up
structure,
through the middle.
go up through the middle.
Play how you want to play against
The top
another
teams.
team and see if it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know what
All
I
right,
mean?
mate.
So, yeah.
I think
So-
we're going to have to.
We're going to end it on that. Yeah.
We're going to end it on that. Yeah.
It's been an hour and a half, mate. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. And been a few noises overhead, so
Okay.
might be time to get with the families.
That sounds like a plan, mate. But thanks for tonight. Appreciate that. We want to do some more regular weekly rugby chat. We look to grow this. So, again, head over to Brough's Rugby Offload, BroPod. Check him out.
Woo.
Instagram, on the YouTube as well. I've got you tagged in, so we can collaborate on this one as well. Brilliant.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
your input,
mate.
mate. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Bye.